Before this episode begins, just want to explain why I took a bit of a break. I started another podcast and I had to focus some time into that. It's nothing like this show, it's a science fiction story called Project Maternity. It follows the story of two young men in a facility, and that's about all I can share at the moment. But the first episode is available, so I will leave a link below if you want to check it out. It's called Project Maternity, and I would really appreciate the support. Speaking of support, I want to thank Kevin, our patron. And if you would like to become a patron as well and get a shout out every episode, you can go to patreon.com/pastime. But good old word of mouth is always appreciated as well. And make sure to check out King Tamacross on Twitch. We're currently doing a full playthrough together of the Kingdom Hearts series, so if you are interested in seeing what that game is about, it's basically anime Disney. But if you just want to watch us gush over the game, we're both really, really huge fans of it. Yeah, go check out King Tamacross on Twitch. But that's enough of editor Fred. Here's the episode. Hello and welcome to episode 26 of the Passtime Thinker podcast. I'm your host, Frederick Piquet, and today my guest is Dustin Laurin. How you doing, man?
Oh, thanks, Fred. Nice to be on the show. I'm doing good.
Yeah. Despite, the new the new lockdown, the next lockdown, the other lockdown, whatever. Like, the list is getting long.
Whatever one we're in now
Yeah.
of lockdowns, yeah. It's good, man. It's good.
It's really funny because like sometimes I can go through my archive of like podcast episodes and be like, oh, okay, this is when we were in this lockdown, and this is when we were in this shutdown, and this is when we were in. It's like it's almost. I don't know if it was a good or a bad time to start a podcast, to be completely honest, because like sometimes it's like looming over one subject, or like one thing gets brought up every episode now because of it.
And it's that old classic lockdown. Do you hear the good news though? There's only 3 lockdowns left until Christmas.
Oh no. I hate that. I love that.
I hate how much I loved that.
Yeah. But a reason that I wanted you on the show is that you work very closely with radio.
Yes. So Saturdays, if people do want to turn in, Kiss 105.3, 8 a.m. to noon. That's my show slot.
That's your show slot. I mean,
my show slot.
I mean, they'd have to be more than just they'd have to be in our hometown though to tune in though, right?
Yeah, they would have to be in our hometown to tune in the car, but they can listen to the Radio Player Canada app. They can go on the Kiss Sudbury website. Okay. Man, radio's gone so digital in the past couple of years that you can listen from anywhere.
Do you think that's been, making a difference though? Like, I know that, like, at least in my experience, like, I know that I definitely don't listen to the radio as much as I used to as a kid. But, like, is the demographic still there? Like, is there still, like, a lot of viewership or listenership, however you guys measure that metric?
Yeah. You know what? I would say it's still there because you still get people working 9 to 5, right? People are still in the city.
True.
They have the radio on in the background. So although we have gone pretty much fully digital in radio with the apps and the website and social media, we still get our Monday to Friday. We still get offices. We still get stores. So yeah, I would say we're still hitting our demographic.
That's awesome. Like when I was a weer lad, like I considered going to school for radio, and then I just like kind of heard about like how difficult it is to get in, like just to get into radio. Like I was basically like guaranteed that like, oh yeah, you can probably get into the program, no problem. But once you're out of the program, you're probably gonna have to work in like none of it for 4 years before you can come back to society. I was like, oh, I don't want to do that.
You really gotta get started somewhere. Like I didn't start going to school and then just jumping on air. I started as a summer cruiser, with intentions and with interest of being an on-air personality, and then with the help of my manager here at Sudbury, I mean, she made that a reality for me, and that's I'm extremely thankful for. But yeah, if you're going to go to school, you're going to do it that way. You got to start either as a cruiser, build your way up, or you got to go to one of the smaller starter markets. Sometimes you get lucky though, right?
Yeah, but it was really cool. Like it didn't completely unnerve me at first. It eventually did. But like I took like a university tour. I think it was Ottawa U, or I think it was Ottawa U. But I took a tour and I saw like their radio station area, and like I thought it was the coolest thing ever.
Being behind the board while live on air kind of feels like you're driving a spaceship. In my opinion, and here's why. You have probably like 200 buttons, if I'm giving you like a real number here. You probably have about 200 buttons.
Nice.
And you're constantly hitting them throughout the course of the show. You're answering phone calls, you're putting that to air, you're airing audio that you have on the computer, and dude, it's a spaceship.
It's a spaceship.
Every week I'm in a spaceship.
No, that's cool. I mean, I don't think I drifted too far, because like I ended up pursuing like voice acting and stuff like that instead. I just wanted to, like, in all honesty, like at least as a kid, like I was like, I just want to be paid to talk. Like that's my dream. Like,
did you have the family members tell you that you talked too much as a kid?
Oh yeah, absolutely. All the time. All the time. And then like this voice, like my voice, I've had this voice since like the 7th grade. Like, so I've always been told like, oh yeah, you should do radio. Like you got a voice for it. And I'm like, I will do radio. And
you were the one weirdo with a deeper voice than everybody else, weren't you?
Yeah. I had a horrible transition period into it though. Like,
oh no.
I definitely went through like every beat of puberty very slowly to get to this. Like, this, like, again, like as a kid, like I took like a small little vow of silence because I hated my voice cracking. And like, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't keep myself shut up for that long.
I know it's your podcast, but I have a question for you.
Oh, for sure.
Does the voice still crack? You still get voice cracks, especially when you're recording?
No, I don't think I do. I haven't realized a voice crack in a very long time. Why do you ask? Have you heard my voice crack?
No. The reason I ask is because I was doing my show on Saturday. I had a voice crack, man.
Oh no.
I had a voice, and I didn't realize until after. Like when I listened back to it, because I'm constantly pulling audio from the show to like reevaluate myself and to listen again. And I had a voice crack. I was talking about raccoons, and I was like, raccoons, something along those lines. Oh yeah, it was brutal. But you got to chuckle at yourself, right? We're only human, and that stuff happens.
Oh yeah. Like I'm not saying my voice never cracks. I'm just saying like I don't think I've caught my voice cracking in a very long time. Not to say it hasn't. It probably has. I don't know. I like as a kid, I used to pride myself on my voice alone. Like that was like the majority of my personality. It was like, hey, what do you think of my voice? And like now as an adult, I'm like, I have a very average voice. Like,
yeah, I'm the same as every other guy. Oh, but yeah, man. Like you got to if you do have a passion for radio, if that's something, definitely like start as a cruiser. And this isn't more for you, this is just more for anybody else. Like if radio is for you, try to apply for those summer positions, and then you can get your time behind the mic, right? Because you're in the studio.
Yeah.
So you can start practicing, you can start sending some to your manager, and then they can evaluate you. But one of the hardest things about working in radio is weekly, every couple days, you're sitting down with your boss and you're listening to your show over, and they're breaking it apart for you.
I mean, because they have to critique it somehow, right? They need to make sure it's always like at the top, right?
Exactly. And you want your show to be the best in Sudbury, the best in whatever town you're in.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, like, I know that I feel like because of the nature of it, radio must be highly competitive. Like,
oh, absolutely.
Between hosts, between like different channels, between different companies, like it feels like a very cutthroat, very competitive industry. Which is weird because then like as a listener, like everyone's so light and bubbly and cheerful, but like in order for like I feel like specifically how at least I believe radio is designed, it must be a extremely cutthroat business.
Yeah. You know what I kind of compared radio to, like the radio business? It's similar. It's not similar to, but it's along the same lines of a professional athlete. Now, you want your station, your team to be the best in all the city, right?
Yeah.
You want to be number one in the books. Now, just like your sports team, if they're not performing, you got to let some people go and you got to make some changes.
Yeah.
They're always tough and they're never easy, but those changes are needed and required for you to continue to grow your station in the town you're in. It sucks. Don't get me wrong. You never want to hear about anybody getting fired. but
Unless you do.
sometimes it's the nature of the bit. So unless there's that one guy or
unless
gal
you do.
that you really didn't like.
Yeah. Oh.
But yeah, it's like the Leafs,
It's like the Leaves.
Want to make the team better.
I mean, for sure. Like, I know when I was in high school, like, this is what made me think, because it was one of those, like, well, if I think it, then everyone else must think it. But when I was, like, really considering going, like, still in high school, considering going into radio, considering doing that whole stuff, one of my classmates co-opted at the radio station, which I never even thought to do. And they didn't get to host anything, but the radio station had them record the ads, like some of their ads and sponsorships, and I would hear their voice on the radio and I'd be like, fuck, like, god damn it. I'm like, damn, like, this is just like, for them, this is just like a fun little thing that they're doing, but like, I'm like, I should have done that. Like, I should have, like, why didn't I think of that?
It's so cool hearing yourself on air for the first time.
Yeah,
like hearing your voice in a commercial spot. Yeah, like driving down the road, your voice comes on and you're voicing a commercial. You're like, shit, that's me. That is the coolest thing.
That is I.
Yeah, my grandma texted me, show sounded good today. I'm like, that's all I need. Grandma's my number one fan. That's all I need.
Grandma is everyone's number one fan. Oh. But again, maybe it's just because, like, I don't look for it, but I do feel that radio, in some senses, I don't know if they're becoming less accessible or just less sought out. Like, throughout the course of history, at least, the radio was everything. That's where you got your entertainment, that's where you got your news, that's where you got your music, that's where you got everything. And then the television came out. So, like, okay, so now we just need the radio for music and news. And then, I would say the internet came out. And it was basically like, oh, like, now we just kind of need it for, like, if nothing else, again, I'm paraphrasing here. I don't, like, truly mean this, but I just feel like there's a lot more competition with the radio than there was before. Like, I feel
like, now you got your streaming platforms, you got Spotify and Apple, everything else that's there. And there's like 100 other streaming platforms that you can download, and that's made it in a competition of itself.
But but in some ways, competition is good. If you have no competition, then you have no motivation to get better.
Exactly. And tell me, have you ever heard of somebody winning a trip to the Dominican or to Mexico or to Cuba through Apple Music? It's never happened.
No, that's true. And like, like that's what always, like, kind of trips me up. Because I'm like, okay, the radio business can't be doing that bad if they can still afford to send people on these trips.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
A lot of it is through partnerships and everything else, but we're still giving away trips. We're still giving away cash. In some other stations, they give away vehicles, and you can't get that through your streaming platforms. And you got to listen through the commercials, but there is no better way to help support local right now during the pandemic than to listen to your local station.
Yeah, that is something that I can vibe with. I can agree with that. Like, if you're someone who, like, is very strong, like, support local, like, maybe listen to your local radio, because they're all these other local businesses platform, essentially.
Yeah.
And, in a sense, well, I'm pretty sure most radio stations are commercialized, but just because it's commercialized doesn't mean the one in your hometown isn't owned locally.
Yeah.
And, like, that, that is probably a good way to support. I never thought about it that way. But yeah, no, that's something to consider. Maybe I'll listen to the fucking radio.
You start listening to the radio more. Get off the streaming platforms and tune in on a Saturday.
I'm really bad for that. I like, again, it's really hard to, like, tell you my experience without, like, making it sound like I'm like dunking or shitting on the radio. But, like, the only time I personally put on the radio is if my phone's gonna die. Be like, oh, I can't Bluetooth it right now, it's gonna die. Throw the radio on.
Gonna listen to something else.
But mind you, funnily enough.
Funnily.
Funnily.
Love it.
Funny
Love
enough. that exact thing happened yesterday. I was coming home and my phone was gonna die, so I'm like, fuck it, radio. And I think there was like actually two songs. I'm like, I didn't know this person came out with a new song yet, which is weird because like usually, like at least if it's an artist that I'm interested in, I'm just like really on top of it. Like, oh shit, new song. Oh shit, new song. And then yeah, no, I put on the radio last night, and within the drive home, I think there was like two songs. I'm like, holy shit, is this? Oh, I didn't know that they. Oh, that's cool. And like I was, I had a little moment with myself. So
You had a little moment driving with the radio. See,
yeah,
dude, you never would have had that. You never would have had that moment if your phone was still charged.
you never would have. Yeah, I mean, true.
You experienced that with yourself and the radio.
Yeah,
Something you'll have forever now.
yeah. Again, it was just like, okay, they are current. Like they're still current. They're still like on top of shit. Because like I know that like a common complaint with like a lot of radio, and like this isn't my opinion. Like this is things that I've heard since childhood up into adulthood. But like, okay, like it used to be a joke of mine to like count the amount of times a certain radio station would play the same song in a single day. And I'm wondering if you can shed light on that.
So before I shed light on that, one of the best things about Kiss 105.3 is we have the no repeat workday, so you're not going to hear the same song twice between 9 and 5.
Okay.
Now a lot of the songs we do play fit in our demographic. There's reasons as to why they play the specific type of music they play. That's all made by people who make a lot more money than I do. All those decisions, all the research, and everything's tested too. So a lot of our songs for Kiss 105.3, I can only really speak to my station anyways.
Yeah.
We have music surveys all the time. So if you find you're hearing one song too much and you really don't like it, you can go to our music survey and you can put it in like, hey, this one or this one. I love this song, and if we get enough votes from people, we're going to start playing the tunes you really like.
Yeah. Because I remember, this has nothing to do, this is from my hometown now. This has nothing to do with where we're living now. But one of the stations that we had like your top 5 hits. And they would play the top 5 hits like 5 times a day. So, yeah. And like, it started becoming like this inside joke where like, I think it was my stepdad. He'd be like, it's like, oh yeah, I already like, he's like, oh yeah, number 3's this, number 2's this, number 1's this. I'm like, how do you know? And he'd be like, because they've played it like twice already today.
I heard that an hour ago.
Yeah, essentially. And I was like, oh, okay. And like that's where I started realizing it, is like kind of watching like the adults around me start to complain about it.
Yeah.
And then, I quickly discovered YouTube. So then like when I was at home, at least I'd always listen to music off YouTube. iTunes became a thing. So I don't know. I just felt maybe my generation specifically, or our generation, I know you're only like a year or two older than me. Like, I don't know. It's just, well, again, I can't even speak for you because you work for the fucking radio. But like, I feel like there's this generation gap with the radio.
Yeah.
I might be like looking too into it. Like I might be looking for points that aren't there. This might just be me, because I know that I used to listen to the radio. Like I used to go to sleep to the radio as a kid. Like I could not sleep unless the radio was on. Like that's how I went to bed.
You needed that music.
Yeah.
But if you really think about it, our parents grew up radio, right? They were recording songs on their phone to put as their voicemail.
Yeah.
Like they're waiting for that and then us, like we grew up pirating songs off the internet, crashing our parents' computer with like 100 porn viruses, just because you downloaded the wrong one.
Like, oh no, I just wanted to listen to the new Flow Rida song.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm not gonna touch on that one.
But I think that might be the issue, that because like I'm just like trying to look at things like chronologically.
Yeah, we grew up with it in our fingertips. We're putting it on CDs. We're putting it in the dressing room. On our Walkmans,
to have so much on demand, because like now that I think about it, the reason why I would listen to the radio going to bed is because I had CDs, but I didn't like going to bed with the CDs because it was the same songs every night, because it was the same CD every night, and they would end. So like if I woke up in the middle of the night, it still wouldn't be on, and like when I did go to bed with it, like I knew every song in what order they were coming in. So the radio was better for that, because the radio never turned off and there was a little bit of selection. So like I'm already kind of getting used to that, And then, Spotify, iTunes, all that came out. I'm like, okay, this is the same thing as the radio, but no ads. So like, it's just like looking for the most convenient thing over and over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm. But you're ad free with those because you pay for them, right?
Of course.
You pay your monthly subscription. So if you want like that free, put the tunes on, you can ask your smart speakers at the house too, like, hey Google, hey Alexa, like play Kiss 105.3, and they'll pop it on. I'm looking at mine right now because I'm sitting in the room with one, and I was really hoping it wasn't gonna just turn on as we're mid record.
Turning on. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, I don't know if it's because of talking to you lately, or I've been just thinking about the radio as a beast, like as an entity, like for like quite some time now. Like I've talked to a few people. Some people be like, oh yeah, it's gone. Like it won't, like 10-15 years from now it won't be here. But I've heard other people like make strong points. It's just that like we still have AM frequencies.
Yeah, we do.
Like, and like how old is like radio isn't going anywhere anytime soon.
And like, so Kiss is owned by Rogers, and Rogers still has AM stations, country. Like,
oh wow,
you can tune in and listen to a radio station live, like today, on an AM station. So it's not dead. It's just changing, right?
Yeah. I just hope that like the change that it goes through like keeps it relevant. I just don't know how structurally wise like the radio can stay relevant when there's just so much on demand, like
right,
personally tailored, whatever the fuck you want services out there. Again, unless it's like it's kind of the whole thing. I don't know if you just recently watched the documentary on the last Blockbuster. It's really weird to compare the radio to Blockbuster. But
yeah,
it's one of those things where like probably what keeps it afloat is they're offering more than just the music. They're offering, an experience. They're offering the community. Like it's, if you look at, if you judge the success or failure of radio by just music, like on paper it looks like it's going to fail. However, if you add all the other factors, the experience that they give people listening, that what they do for the community, it's what they do that isn't the music is kind of what makes it worth something more, right?
Yeah, the charitable work that we do, outstanding. Like we've given hundreds of thousands of dollars to our friends at the Neo Kids Foundations with our father-daughter ball, which is an incredible event we run every year, and just little partnerships throughout the course of the year. Like the Canadian Hard of Hearing Association, we help them with their dream home, and we have a great partnership with them. Again, we have a great partnership with Neo Kids. It's a lot of little things in the community that wouldn't be possible without our listeners.
Yeah. And again, that's all I meant to say, is just that, like, probably why, like, I think that the reason why radio isn't going anywhere has nothing to do with the music. Unfortunately.
It's the
yeah.
It's the people, right?
It's the experience that they're giving the listeners.
And now that experience is going digitally, right? With COVID, the pandemic, we really had to change stride here, and we had to go in a different direction. Like, you can remember growing up as a kid, you never knew what the hosts looked like on the radio station.
No, I still don't know what some hosts look like. Like, sorry, go on.
so now you can, like, TikTok, Instagram, you can go see your host right away, like you're constantly, because remember when you'd go to an event as a kid and you'd see them, you'd be like, wow, that is not what I thought they would look like.
And you would hear them before you saw them. You're like, and you're like, oh.
Yeah. And which, I don't know if it would be like that to you, but if you heard somebody's voice and they don't look like what their voice actually sounds like, it might kind of turn you off as a listener and be like, like you just can't match the face to. Now it's so digital that you could go and you can see them talking, and it just fits in my head better that I can see them and hear them.
Well, because I remember it took me a while too. Like when I first moved here, I'm not gonna name any names or like name any companies or anything like that, but like one of the radio stations here had this huge banner ad on like the local buses, and it had like the two hosts like plastered right on there. And I just remember like looking at them, and like me and my friends were just like, look at these fucking dorks. Like, we're like, fuck these, like, just, you know how assholes be, right? And we're like, oh, fuck these guys. And then I found myself like a few months later, like listening to, because I was working like a very labor intensive job, so like we had the radio on all the time,
Mhm.
and I found myself tuning into their show and like finding them like extremely hilarious, like very
Yeah.
entertaining. And then it was even after that point that I had to realize like, oh, these are the same people that was on the bus. And I'm like, ha, okay,
You know, now that you can put the face to the voice, it's like, yeah, these guys are pretty cool. Like,
yeah.
they're not bad.
And I think it's probably the reverse of the point you were trying to make us.
You seen them first and heard them after,
Yeah.
and then you were hooked.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it actually became like that show in particular became like the highlight of my morning. Like I remember none of us liked that radio station in particular, but it
Yeah.
was the early morning show because we had to be at work for like 6 a.m. And it was a different radio station's early morning show, and we would tune into it just to listen to these two hosts, and then we changed the radio station for the rest of the day.
And like, you're never gonna get that with your streaming platforms, right? You're
Yeah.
not gonna feel that sense of connection to the host. Like, you can completely change your own mood by playing the wrong playlist.
Oh yeah.
You know? Just think, you and the girlfriend had a fight the night before, and all of a sudden you're driving in. Taylor Swift's new Fearless album comes out. You're reliving your 15-year-old breakup self all over again.
Oh.
Also, great album. I don't know if you've heard Taylor Swift's new album.
No, I have not.
She re-released all her songs that she did for like the past little while, and
Oh, so like there's no
Yeah.
new music out?
no, but just hearing the growth from her as an artist, hearing the
Oh, like
growth
she did the songs again.
again,
She like with like,
she
okay.
re-recorded.
Oh, so that'd be cool to
Yeah.
like compare it to like what she sounded like when the song first came out compared to like her doing the song now.
Yeah, and then
Okay,
to hear the growth, yeah,
Yeah,
you know,
that
the
might be
growth is the
that
artist in the band.
like I don't really care for Taylor Swift, but that concept alone is interesting.
Yeah, she's a cutie too, so you gotta love her.
Eh. Again, I never followed Taylor Swift. I never really had my eye on her. I was like, she's got like two good songs. Like to me, like that's just always been my opinion. I'm like, yeah, she has two songs that I'm willing to listen to. I don't really follow much else. But it's
What's your two Taylor Swift songs? What's your go-to?
I think Shake It Off.
There you go. You seem like a shake it off kind of guy.
Yeah, oh, well, it's just I forget. I made the mistake of like listening to like half the song one time, thinking
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, like that's a pretty good beat. Download it for like my gym playlist, and then at the gym listen to the song in its entirety and be like, I shouldn't have put this on my workout playlist, and like of course like I forget exactly how it happened, but like I always have my playlist on shuffle. And I did not take this song out of my list, and I was doing some exercise that I needed a spotter for, and my phone was screen facing up, and Taylor Swift came on, and he just kind of looked at my phone, saw the album cover on my phone, and he like ripped the earphone out of my ears. Like, what the fuck are you listening to right now? And I just had to explain to him like it's not supposed to be there. I just haven't taken it off the playlist. I'm sorry.
What I learned growing up is never be ashamed to the music you listen to, man. I will say I did not like Justin Bieber when he first came out.
That's weird. I did.
He dropped his new album, man. I'm the biggest believer out there right now.
I was really into Justin Bieber when he first came out.
When he first came out? Really?
Yeah. I don't know why. It was I don't know if it's because I liked him or just like all of his songs were earworms.
Yeah.
Like it's just like love him or hate him, like that song's stuck in your head for the week now.
Oh, dude, thinking about his old songs now, they're popping into my head.
Yeah. And so I think it was just one of those, like, I just kind of, like, leaned into him. Like, it's stuck in my head, so, like, I'm just going to listen to it. Because it's stuck in my head. And, like, there's nothing more torturous than, like, when no music is playing and a song is stuck in your head, or when a different song is playing and a different song is stuck in your head. So, like, I just, like, I'm like, fuck, it's stuck in my head anyways. I may as well listen to it. So, like...
For me as a kid, I think it was the jealousy, man.
The
Justin Bieber,
jealousy.
we're about the same age, right? I thought I was a dynamite bomb singer as a kid. I'm like,
Oh
dude, that lifestyle could have been me, right? Now singing as an adult, I'm like, there's no fucking way I can be Justin Bieber.
no, I think I didn't have it like the exact same, but I think I did rock like a Bieber-esque hairstyle
Oh,
around
everyone
that
did,
time.
man.
It
That's
wasn't
what
exactly
the
it. My hair was much, much longer, but it was
yeah
definitely like, yeah,
Bieber-esque.
Bieber-esque.
That's what the girls loved, though. They all loved the Bieber, and us as guys, we tried to
You know,
be the Biebs, you know?
be the Biebs. Yeah. Oh, I'm not proud of that time of my life, man.
No,
That's
but
around
you lived
this.
it, dude.
Yeah, that's around the same time my voice was cracking really bad.
So you were Justin Bieber, pretty much.
No.
Bieber-esque
No.
hairstyle, voice, cracking voice.
Well, because I think Justin Bieber is only like 2 or 3 years older than me, right? So like it was close in
Yeah,
age.
he'd be
Oh,
cool to have a beer with, to be honest.
yeah.
Now he'd be cool to have a beer with.
Well, now that whatever's happened, I don't know if it's just because he's married now or like if he found Jesus or something, but like
Mm-hmm.
he took a weird. It was weird because he went from like innocent to fucking like pariah to wholesome. And like all of those transitions was just like on a dime. Like just like, oh,
Yeah,
what's he doing now? This is like, oh yeah, like cute little Justin Bieber. Like, oh yeah, he's adorable. Like, what? He's assaulting people? What? He's smoking weed in his private place? Wait, he's peeing in public? What? And then being from that to be like, wait, what? He got married? Wait. Oh, he's getting all his tattoos removed? Oh, he's apologizing for everything he did? Like, oh.
he's changed. He's a change. Well, he got married, right? So he's a changed man.
Yeah.
You tell me one guy that gets married and doesn't change.
Oh, me, man. I'm gonna break the mold.
You're gonna break the mold.
Yeah. I'm
We'll
not
have to
changing,
do.
man. This is
We'll
who
have
I.
to do a spin-off.
Yeah, this is who
Spin-off
I.
of this podcast.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, we keep talking over each other. But yeah, no, this is who I was when you married me. Why the fuck should I change?
We're gonna do a spin-off episode of this. How Fred's changed after his marriage.
So it turns out I love Taylor Swift. I brought the Bieber hair back. Taylor Swift is my
Yeah.
favorite. Listen to the radio all the time. I
Yeah, definitely. But radio is back to the radio topic, right?
okay.
It's crucial. I know a guy who worked in Fort McMurray when they had the forest fires.
Okay. I had family who lived there during that as well.
Yeah, so he was the voice on air telling the town to evacuate. Like it is time to go. Sorry, my daughter just popped in.
Oh, that's okay.
I don't know if you can hear in the back, but he was the voice telling people it's time to go.
Yeah.
Like we got to get out. The fire's coming, right? And yes, you can get that on your social. Yes, you can get on this, but they kept him there to help people out of the city.
Yeah.
You know, he was the voice in the emergency as to where to go. You're not going to get that online. You can't continue to check your phone while there's a fire on either side of the road, you know?
No, that's when you're like driving, focusing on the road, keeping the radio on for updates.
Yeah, and you're getting whatever you can, right?
Yeah.
Like it'll always be crucial for that, just for emergencies, because that shit happens all the time.
Oh yeah.
You know, Sudbury's a little bit of a safer place, I would say, as per tsunami and all that other crazy shit that we're not going to get. But tornadoes are still possible. We had that downburst a couple years ago that destroyed New Sudbury.
I'm not gonna lie. There's a few times that the radio saved me from being late at work, finding out there's an accident on a certain road and can't go that way, and oh shit, and then and then getting to work on time. Everyone else comes late and be like, Did you not hear it on the radio? Like
no, they had their phone plugged in.
Like that's happened a few times.
Yeah.
But you know what? I think right now is a good spot to end it here, just for the ad reel, real quick. And yeah, we'll be right back. This episode is sponsored by Brotherhood MFG. Brotherhood MFG is a clothing brand centered around car culture with a fresh style. They've even given me a special discount code to give to you guys. So if you go to teespring.com/stores/brotherhoodmfg and use discount code Passtime in all caps, you'll get a 13% discount off the entire store. All right, and we're back. How you doing, Dustin?
I'm good, man. That was a good break.
Good break. Oh, please. Oh, no. I do that. I'm not even going to address it. We're just going to keep moving on. I'll tell you after.
I love it how I automatically hit one of your pet peeves. First time on the show. I already found it.
Oh yeah, I'll elaborate later. I've gone over it enough. Um. So yeah, radio stuff. We've been talking about the radio, talking about little moments that you get with yourself on the radio. And I think that's why radio is still alive. Is that I don't really think it has much to do with the music. I don't know.
It's
That's where I'm at
it's
with
the
it.
yeah, it's the community aspect, man. Like, yes, the streaming platforms are coming in, and yes, they're amazing. I mean, like, I listen to streaming platforms. Everybody does, right? Whether you're taking the dog for a walk or you're just playing music in the backyard, you know what happens. We're
Yeah.
gonna listen to the tunes we want to listen to. People used to do it with CDs. People used to do it with cassettes. They would put their own music on their MP3 players. It's just another thing, but it's that sense of community, helping the charity, and then really just diving into the station and falling in love with it. Some people still are really good at it. Some people struggle with it, but if I had to give someone a piece of advice, I'd say listen to your local radio station if you're first moving into a city.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think. Like, I spent a lot of time in Toronto. I don't think I ever listened to the radio in Toronto, however. Like, that's just that, they don't play it on the bus or the subway, and that's when I'm really am just like with my headphones in and stuff like that in public transport. And I don't really listen to the radio like at home. So like I never really got a feel for Toronto through the radio station. That was more from just like living there for an extended period of time. But I know that where I'm living now, like I learned a lot about the community through the radio.
Which is great, and that's one of the most important things. Like, when I moved to the Sioux as a student, I had my car there because I was living in residence,
Mm-hmm.
and I turned the radio on every time I'd go to the mall. Dude, I learned so much about the city
Mm-hmm.
just by spending 20 minutes on my drive to the mall listening to the local radio station. That
Yeah.
aspect is one of the best aspects of radio. Is you learn so much about the town. There's the charitable angles, man. I can go on for days.
Yeah. And like one thing that just popped in my head too is the nostalgia that certain radio stations can give you. Like I know that whenever I go to my hometown
Yeah.
and I hear the local radio, I'm like, oh, that okay, yeah, I'm like they just either they play like a certain song or like the radio host says like a certain colloquialism, and I'm just like, yep, okay, I know where we are. Like,
I'm back home now. Yeah.
yeah,
I've made it home, and you can tell it's kind of a good road trip feeling though, isn't it? When you're on your way and you're switching stations through almost every city, and then you get to the city limits and you just put your favorite radio station back on. That's
yeah,
a cool feeling. You know, then
yeah.
you start to feel like you're home.
Like, and like again, I just like even when you go back home and a certain radio station comes on and like they have the same commercial adverts that they did like 15 years ago, like, and you just know like every little jingle that comes on, you're like, oh my, like, does it
We
fucking
were we were talking about that today. We were talking about marketing, and I said, in my professional opinion, because I graduated from public relations at Cambrian College here in Sudbury, and one of the things I thought of was you should just do a jingle on the radio for any of your marketing, because if that jingle takes off, 20 years people are going to remember that. I had one
oh
in my
yeah,
head today. I had one stuck in my head today.
oh my lord, like again, it's just a funny animal, I find. Like I'm trying not to repeat the same points over and over again, but like that's just like kind of where I'm at with it.
Have you been on? You haven't been on the radio, right?
I have not. Like me personally, I've never been
Yeah,
on the radio.
it's a cool feeling.
Oh, I bet it. Again, I've seen radio stations, like I've seen the setups and stuff like that. I've been in radio stations. I've never been on the radio, but like yeah, like it's just like what you said with the whole spaceship thing. Like
Dude, there's so many buttons to press. I've messed up. I will be honest. I have messed up, which every new talent going on air has messed up, because there's one button to make it live on the air. There's another button if you want to pre-record something. There's another button to talk to somebody on the phone. Oh, and then you got to merge. Oh yeah.
okay, you've
But
listed
you figure
four
it out.
buttons.
Yeah.
You've listed four buttons. Let's keep going.
Oh yeah, just keep naming all the buttons on the board. And to be honest, I don't know what every button on the board does. And if there is one radio host who knows what every single button on the board does, I would be shocked.
Really?
No, there's probably a lot that know. I can't figure it out, man. I use the same 10 switches every time.
Every time you're on the radio, just try a new button.
just figure it out.
And what does this one do?
I did that with sound effects for a little while.
Oh, really?
Make a chicken sound, or I'd make an applauding sound, or
that's funny.
Yeah, we got a keypad full of different sounds that we can hit.
Huh.
I really like that one though, where they use it on Tim and Sid all the time. It's like, bah, 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 bah.
Oh, of
it's
course.
It's Tim and Friends now. I wish we had that button. I think every time I'd make a point, it's
just to be able to just exacerbate everything you say. You say something sad, there's like a little sad sound effect. You trying to put someone on blast. Mind you, I've always felt like they're a little like unforgiving. Like there's I don't know if Sudbury ever did anything like this, but I know in my hometown there was a radio competition where two people would call in. It had to be one man, one woman, and the bit was called Battle of the Sexes.
Yeah, so we had that on our sister station.
Yeah.
For owned by Rogers here. Yeah, it's fantastic.
And it was just like, I remember listening to it as a kid being like, oh, if I lost, I'd just hang up. Like, I'm not committing to that. Because, like, essentially they'd have, a man and a woman, they just ask, like, trivia questions.
Yeah.
And if the man won, the woman would have to sing on air Macho Man. And if the woman won, the man on air would have to sing Barbie Girl.
So for us, it was Wonder Woman.
Oh, okay.
They had to sing that one, but
and I just remember like as a kid, it's fucking hilarious. Like, and I was just committed. I'm like, if that happened to me, I just hang up. Like you can't stop. Like they're going to arrest you. Like just hang up.
You were already in your head. You're thinking about the time you're going to lose on the radio station and how you're going to deal with that wave of anxiety after you lost.
But like, I don't know if like competitions and stuff like that on the radio would like fly nowadays. Like, is there still things like akin to that where it's like a competition? Like I don't really recall any time I've heard two people call in to the station at the same time lately.
As of recently, I'm not on the morning show, right? And then it's happening, to be honest, before I even wake up in the morning. But we had one recently. I can't remember the exact name of it, but like you're saying, it's starting to get a little rare that man versus woman or two people going head to head is happening on the radio station. And it's getting missed, but those one caller games, it's a little more personable.
Yeah.
Right? You start to draw that connection with that radio host just by you being on the phone, because you get a little bit of time with each other off air as well.
I would assume so. Like I assume there's like a vetting system. Like, hey, your caller number, whatever. Like, we're just making sure you're not crazy. Okay, we can go live with you. Okay, let's go live. The commercial's done.
Yeah, like an unknown little hidden secret. If you're calling for a contest and they want caller 3 and you're just screaming in the phone, it's a little hard to hear you, and our headphones are on, so we hear you screaming through. I had one person hang up on me when they were the caller I was looking for.
Oh, shit.
So, yeah, I could have got disconnected. So many things could have happened, but we don't have caller ID, which makes it a surprise as to who was calling us.
Oh, really? So you guys block all your incoming calls?
Well, it's a little light that flashes up, right? Because you don't want a ringer to be going. I almost forgot the name of it. You don't want the ring to be going through if you're live on air and someone happens to call when you're in the middle.
Oh, you just get a visual cue when someone.
Yeah,
calls.
You just get a visual cue of that light flashing, and you hit your button.
I mean, that does
say
make
your
sense.
station, and
I mean that does make sense though. Like thinking about it now with like a critical mind, I'm like, why would it ring? Because you just hear it all the fucking time.
When I was a summer cruiser, my first couple days of going in and standing back and watching the morning show work and just how fast they're working, pulling up new information on the computer and constantly checking what's trending to provide it to people on their drive to work. But I seen the phone go off and I'm like, what's flashing? And they just answered the phone. Thought the same thing as you. Why wasn't it ringing? Well, of course, you don't want that sound playing through the speaker.
It's the same reason why my phone is mute right now while we're recording this.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why. I don't know why that connection just wasn't there for me for a quick second there.
Do you find that's still one of the hardest things for people to do is mute their phones?
The only time my phone is not on silent is if I'm expecting a call. If I know if I'm expecting a call, then I'll take it off mute. Otherwise, it's always mute.
Is mute vibrate? Like you just keep it on vibrate all the time?
Silent mode.
Silent. Yeah. So my phone at night, 100% do not disturb. You need to get a hold of me. It's an emergency. Call me twice in a row. That's what I tell people.
Call me twice in a row.
Yeah. Because if it's on do not disturb, it'll ring through the second time.
Oh, really? I mean, I guess that's a good way to go around. I've never put my phone on do not disturb. I really don't know.
I love it. Because you know those like 2 a.m. emails you get?
Oh, God. I have no notifications on my phone. I don't get any push notifications on my phone.
Really? I get them for everything. Games. Yeah, got to go through. Got to be a little more grown up now and stop getting Candy Crush notifications.
I have like the odd like group chat that I'm in that have a push notification. Otherwise, just texts and phone calls I get notifications for. Nothing else pops up on my phone.
Do you remember the last time you went to the movies, though? Someone had their phone on. The last time I went to the movies, somebody had their phone on. Back to the whole muting their phone situation. People are...
Hey, Editor Fred is back. We had to stop recording briefly. We had a little intruder, and fortunately, Dustin's a good dad. So, yeah. Anyways, we get back on track. So, here we go. All right, sorry about that. We are back. We had a little surprise visitor.
Yeah, we did. Mom came and grabbed her, though, so don't worry. She's helping out now with bath time.
Oh, with the bath time.
Yes, it's time for the little one to have a bath, so she's going to help out, wash his back, I guess.
Yeah, do your kids fight to take a bath? I was never one of those kids, but I've seen other people, like, I've seen children not like bath time.
Yeah, so my youngest, Emmett, who just turned a year in February, he loves water.
Okay, that's
so cool. He just turned a year old, right? So he loves sitting, splashing, having fun. He's super easy to wash too. Like he lets you wash his hair and wash his body. The 4-year-old sometimes a little different. She's like a 4-year-old, but she's more of a 14-year-old attitude.
Oh, okay.
So makes it sometimes, but we just try to reason with her and say, your feet stink. It's time to have a bath. You're gonna have to play a game. Sometimes you actually have to smell their feet to then make the ew gross face, and then they go and have a bath.
Just shame them into it.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of convincing, but sometimes. Sorry, I had to decline a phone call.
All good.
Because of course, you and I are.
That's when everything
from each
happens,
other. We're
man.
doing this all online.
I've had a lot of stuff happen while I was recording. I'm right beside train tracks. I've had trains go by. I've had just surprise visitors come over while I'm recording. You just gotta roll with it. I mean, that's
you gotta roll with it.
You just have to have the mentality, like, fix it in post. It's fine. We're not live.
The call I just ignored. It's the 5th time they've called me today.
Is it like a private number?
I inquired about a free quote.
Oh no. So
I inquired about a free quote, thinking, hey, like, it's a free quote. Oh my God, quote's a difficult word for me today.
Quote.
Buddy called me yesterday. So the thing that I could go buy at the store for like $4,000 is going to cost me $18,000 over 10 years. Jesus. So I was not interested. I'm like, no thanks. So he called me 5 times today, and one of his coworkers called me from a different number. So I answered, and oh yeah, man, I don't inquire for free quotes, but don't call somebody 5 times.
I mean, while we're on the note of like irritating things, we were talking about annoying people in the movie theater.
That's right.
Are you like a stickler when you're in a movie theater? Like, are you one of the guys that'll be like, "Hey, shut up," or like will you call people out in a movie theater?
No, dude, I can't call people out for anything.
Me either, but I appreciate the fuck out of people who do, though.
But don't be the person that goes and gets the employee, you know?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna.
Like handle it like an adult. There's nothing worse. I'm sorry. I don't really want to call her a Karen because I worked with a Karen who's one of the nicest people. I worked with two Karens. They're both fantastic, but don't be a Karen at the movie theater. Tell people to push over. You don't have to go get the staff member.
I remember. I
Oh.
don't know why. It was such a long time ago, but it's a really vivid memory for me. I went to go watch World War Z in the movie theater when I was a kid, and there was a guy on a date beside me, and the entire movie, not using his indoor voice, he was just explaining to his date, oh, in the book that's different. Like, oh, in the book they do this. Like, oh, they really fucked that part up because in the book, and like he just kept talking about the World War Z book that the movie's based off, and he would not shut up. And I just remember
Has any
being,
has anybody ever done that to you watching a movie?
I'm the, in the comfort of my own home, I am that guy.
Oh no. Oh, your poor wife.
In the comfort of my own home, I do that a lot. I do that with the reference material because I went to school for like that whole realm of stuff, right? So like I'll talk about like, oh, okay, Dutch angle. Okay, so like this means, and like, or I'll be like, or like I'll like compliment or like diss like anything I'd like or dislike I see on the screen. But oh, like that's real. Like, oh my god, like I like I really like that camera angle. Like, oh, I don't like that camera angle. Okay, so that's cool. Like, so because of that, or like I'll bring up like trivia about like the director of the movie. I'm like, oh shit, he's talking like that's a reference to like this other movie that the guy did. I'm like, oh, that's so, and like I don't shut up when I'm in the comfort of my own home. When I'm in a movie theater, I'm very respectful. I save everything until we're in the parking lot, and but
And then you have your little after movie vent to the wife about how much you didn't like the movie because it wasn't like the books. Are
uh
you're a superhero guy, right? I
oh
mean, I
yeah.
think I know you well enough to say. Are you one of those like that's not how the comic books were kind of guy?
See, it's very difficult to. You can't really do that with comic book movies because there's so many different universes. There's so many different like timelines and stuff like that. It's like they may have not have gotten it right from your favorite version of this superhero, but they definitely pulled that from somewhere. Like
Yeah,
it.
which is really cool.
But if it's something else where like if it's like a 1-to-1 comparison, like movies based off of novels, like Harry Potter or Percy Jackson, Maze Runner, stuff like that. Like then sometimes I get a little bit more frustrated with the things they get wrong or like very happy about the things they get right. But like when it comes to comic book movies, like I'm just happy they're there. Like cool.
I love a good superhero movie. I got a buddy, him and I used to go see them all the time. When Spider-Man, Superman, like no matter Marvel,
Oh
DC, we
yeah.
would always go see them every time they came out. And we would be watching it, and halfway through, he would turn to me and be like, "Well, this is how they finished the movie in the comic book." Me not reading that specific comic book for that movie would just completely ruin the whole movie for me. I'd be
Oh
like, "Really,
really?
man?" Yeah,
So like I remember going into Captain America Civil War really on the edge of my seat because I'm like, okay, I know how this ends because there's only one Civil War story in the comic books, right? There's only one way it goes down. And I was like, okay, so I know how this in theory should end, but you know, if they're going to go right by the comic book, what's the point in me watching it cuz I already know what happened. And then they took a little spin on it. They removed some stuff and moved other things to different movies and stuff like that. So like I still really enjoyed it because like I think when it comes to again, depending on how big the offense is, like you can't do a one for one book to movie translation because then what's the point? You already know what's gonna happen. You already know who's gonna say what. You already know all the twists. Like
you have to change it. You have to make it a little different.
but they got to make it like a ooh okay that I never thought of that like
Yeah,
but then you get like other movies like Avatar the Last Airbender that just defiled the source material. uh,
that's true, man. Did you ever get kicked out of the movie theaters
no,
as a
no,
kid?
I'm way too nervous in public. I'm I'm way too hung up on public opinion of me to like ever act a fool in public.
100%. Dude, so I was there one day. I can't remember what we were going to see. It was me, a friend of mine, and then like two of his other friends that he went to school with. Kind of meeting them for the second or third time.
Mm-hmm.
So they wanted to just goof around, throw popcorn. They picked up an air horn,
Oh
not telling me,
no.
not telling me any of this. And this is a pretty packed movie, and they just hit the air horn. I walked away. I wanted nothing to do with, because like same situation as you. Like I have no problem talking to people in public, but it's just doing stupid things that I'm going to make a fool out of myself.
I don't like being the
Or I'm gonna,
perpetrator.
exactly, man. And so nothing really happened to them, I don't think, because I dipped. I just left. I didn't want to be with them anymore. I was waiting outside.
Yeah. I mean, there was one time, I don't think this counts. There was one time that I went to the movies with my brother and cousin. We were the only ones in the theater.
I love that.
We were the
I love
only
when
ones
that
there.
happens.
So like, yeah, we kind of like ran up and down the halls and like we were like, you know, like dicking around. Like that's just because we were the only people in there.
Yeah. It's
But
so much fun. You can go sit where you want. You can find the best. You can be like Sheldon Cooper, man, from Big Bang, and
yeah.
find the best spot for audio in the whole theater.
Oh yeah, like I think we did like this whole bit where like one of us sat in like one corner, one of us sat in the other corner, and like one of us sat in like the dead middle. So we were the three of us were like as far away as possible as we could be, and like we were just watching the movie, and every now and then we just like screamed like, "Didn't see that coming." That was cool, and like just like pretending to be like asshole people in a movie theater.
But it was just the three of you.
It was just the three of us.
I went on a date one time, and it was just the two of us. And
oh god,
the date,
I don't know if that's
dude.
is that good or bad luck?
Shit, she didn't even want to hold hands.
Ooh.
So she was not interested in. I mean, I'm happily now married with two kids, but that was probably when I was a later teenager. I would say 19.
Later teenager, late teens.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know, young adult, late teen,
later teenager. I'm on the radio, and sometimes I still struggle with my words, so that's okay, right?
Yeah. Oh, I miss the movie theater.
I do too. I miss the popcorn.
Ooh, no, I don't. Fun fact about me, and this pisses everybody in my life off. I don't like popcorn.
My wife doesn't like popcorn.
Oh my god!
I got a buddy I'm helping out right now. He's renting a room off me, and he doesn't like popcorn. I'm like, fine, guess I'll just have to eat the whole bag of popcorn.
It's too much work. Also, it's not worth it. It's not. What you get out of eating popcorn isn't worth the effort put into eating popcorn, in my opinion.
What you get eating popcorn is I gotta leave. I gotta go make some popcorn.
I gotta go make popcorn. Oh.
I'm just thinking about it. I'm thinking about the butter on your fingers after, the crunch, the pop.
Nah, man. Like, I'm not saying I'll never refuse. Like, just to be clear, I'll never refuse popcorn. It's not like I'm like, hey, I got some popcorn. You want some? And I'd be like, no, I don't eat that. But like, I'll never make popcorn. I will never buy popcorn, and I'll never like think to have popcorn. It's just not. Like it's.
Are you a smart? Are you a smart pop kind of guy?
No.
Cheddar popcorn kind of guy?
No, I like.
No.
When I get seasoning, I like really strong. Like I'll get like ketchup chips flavoring or like dill pickle flavoring, and I'll coat the shit out of it.
I love ketchup pop. Thinking about it now, I'm like salivating, man.
But again, you can just get ketchup flavored chips, and you get more.
It's different. You'd only understand if you're a true popcorn lover.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so, because I know I'm not. I'm very like. Again, I'll never say no to it. I'll just never seek it out. Like that's
your favorites. What's your go-to movie snack? You know, if you're not the popcorn guy, what are you doing? Getting a pretzel, getting a pizza,
Twizzlers,
getting a poutine,
Twizzlers.
Did you like when they introduced food in the movie theaters? You know, and the beer. You can get a beer there now.
Oh yeah, I know. I was working in the movie theater when that happened. I had to get my smart serve to continue working there because we started serving beer.
10.
Oh, you muted yourself. I don't know. I can't hear you. I mean, for people listening, I'm just watching him on Zoom right now. Just play with his phone.
Yeah.
Oh, there
I
he
just
is.
had a yeah, no, your audio left me for a bit and I panicked, so I just unplugged it and plugged it back in because
Oh.
that's what any IT guy will tell you to
Unplug it and plug it back in. I was like, we're
I'm
figuring
giving
this out.
people
Yeah, I'm like, we're figuring this out while recording because I don't think I can edit out another chunk. I'm bad at editing, man.
Oh, I love editing. We have to do it at the radio station, right? If they
Yeah.
But ours is super easy because it has a little spin dial, so you just like and go back, cut where you
Oh.
need to cut, and yeah.
Oh, I have like, I mean, I like the editing software I use. Like, I pay for it. Like, it's a subscription. Because if I don't pay the subscription, I get a freaking watermark on it whenever I post it anywhere. So like, I have
Oh
like an
no.
okay like editing software. It's just it all has to do with my skill level though. Like, it's something I'm slowly learning how to do. And like with my other project that I'm doing, like I'm slowly getting more integrated with like the tools and stuff like that with editing software. It's fun. It's definitely, it feels rewarding as hell. Like, that's for sure. I'm just not good at it yet.
As my 4-year-old would say, practice makes practice.
Practice makes practice. Yeah.
So the more you practice something, the more you're gonna practice.
Yeah. Can you imagine just like practicing for like an hour? It's like, yeah, I sure did practice. Wow, look at all that
I sure
practice.
did practice. But no, practice makes perfect, man. And I've been listening to the podcast for a while now. It sounds fantastic. I'm so happy to be on it.
I mean, thanks, man.
And
I'm slowly getting better at the editing. It's, I don't know, like it's a cool skill, and it's weird like learning it by ear, because like I had like a very shotgun-esque approach to like learning editing in college. It was literally just a burner course. Like, the prof was like straight up like, as long as your attendance is good, this class is unfailable. And like we would have like assignments where like the entire assignment was like, oh yeah, just make everything blue. It's like, oh yeah, okay, you know how to change colors. That's a 100% on this assignment. Or like,
you
all
love
right,
those ones.
what?
I
Yeah.
love those assignments.
Yeah, and then he'd have another one. He's like, okay, like put like a star transition in the middle of this scene, and he'd look in. He's like, yep, you sure did put a star transition in that scene. You get a 100% on this assignment because it's a do or don't like kind of assignments, right? So like,
Right.
either you don't do it or you do it, and if you do it, that means you get a 100%, right?
We had one of those in my program. I did it and I still messed it up and I still got a 0.
Oh my.
So can't remember how, but all I remember doing was handing it in and getting a 0 on it. The worst thing I ever did was go to hand in a final that we did on the computer. It was for one of my database courses that I had to take, and we had to basically start creating a database, save it, and then submit the file in the Dropbox. So basically what I handed him back was the questions that we had to download, like the Word document with the questions on it. I downloaded that, handed that back to him, and he still gave me like a 25%. He's like, hey, come see me. And I handed the right thing, and I got like I think an 80 on it or something. But yeah, a super nice guy. I can't thank him enough for letting me come back and actually submit the right thing.
I think that's actually time now, though. Dude, thank you for coming on. It's been a while since I've even recorded an episode. I've been so busy with the other project. It's fun to like actually get back to the podcast.
Yeah, man. Like, thank you so much for having me. Anytime you're looking for a co-host, you're looking for someone to jump on, always willing. And now the listeners know I'm willing too, so that's even better. But yeah, no, Fred, podcast sounds great. I've been listening for a while now, and I'm just excited and happy to be on with you.
Oh, for sure. And remember, everybody, practice makes practice. All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Have a good day. Bye-bye.